Oh,
Hello?
you still there?
Yes. Yeah, we're here.
Okay. What did it? All right, call the meeting to order. First order of business is reported committees. Outside master plan update.
Would you like to see the community?
Oh, attendance.
Jamie
Roll call,
Sullivan,
please.
Jamie Sullivan. Here. Nick Caimano.
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
Tim Robinson.
Here.
Dan Bruno.
Here.
Dave O'Brien.
Here.
We have a quorum, we have 6 out of 10.
Okay. Next is reported committees, Canal Side master plan update.
Yep. We met at the Bell's office last Wednesday, July 26th, to review the progress to date. Excuse me, all the field investigations are complete, cultural resources, aquatic resources, geotechnical services survey is pretty much done through up there. And the corridor assessment, sewer flow monitoring was completed. We got the final data from that has yet to be evaluated, compiled, etc. In a review, talked about the wastewater, basically the design report and the wastewater design report. Yesterday, we met at Mr. Holmes' office, myself, Mr. Martin, and Jessica Lurkeys. And reviewed, not our final review, so to speak, basically the design report for both of those, the water and wastewater report. And Mr. Holmes good enough to file all the comments, send them to the developer, who will take those into consideration or whatever. Incorporate them into the final reports. And if they have any questions, they'll get back to us. We had a number of comments there, so we list questions from them that they want us. We'll answer them. And we reviewed the schedule to date, and it's in pretty good shape. They issued their head engineer, Paul Gay, issued an updated schedule tracker, which is in good shape. So they're looking pretty good. Once those basic design reports are accepted, etc., proceed with final design, and that will be completed. Should be completed this fall, correct?
I don't remember the final delivery date on that.
Yeah.
The end of September. But like for number 4, with your final document with permitting, might go.
Yeah, those are
It's so important. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? My report, I should have something to add.
I think we're in good shape. I think we were a little worried a few months ago about the timing. Various factors fell into place and Bella stepped up, and we're doing well.
Other than that, I don't know if you want to talk at all about the offer.
Go to executive session.
I'll take that as a no.
Non-public.
I'll do it.
Did you see the executive session, Richard? New leaf update?
So on New Leaf, I do have a handout, and I'll also show on the screen. So if people can take one and pass it along. And Ally, I'm going to try to show my screen here. Hopefully I'm successful. Here it comes. Coming. Okay. So just as background and reminder, New Leaf was looking at a certain section in our airport industrial park phase 2. An area that then later was deemed with having wetlands and would not allow the solar installation that they were interested in doing. However, since they had a good place in line for the interconnect, They asked us if it was possible to look at another portion of our phase 2 site. And we said yes. If you look at what I've handed out, what I found on the screen, the bottom diagram shows a portion of the airport industrial park that is land that we own that is unoccupied, undeveloped. And that yellow area means there's no wetlands. So that is the area that they are looking at. They have recently sent us the diagram above, which shows that area and the satellite image. And the yellow outline is the area that they are interested in. They are currently doing their due diligence on this particular area, and we will hear from them hopefully soon.
Yellow outline?
The yellow outline is the property, because they do need some portion, believe it or not, of wetlands to offset where they're gonna put their solar panels. So the two be determined part of what they come back with.
Was that yellow?
Yeah, sorry, there's two yellows there, or orange, the both diagram, the orange outline is the property that they're in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes more sense. I don't see a yellow.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll talk about more later, but I have found this because those are the best lots on.
Well, good point. I might add. With this controversy with FW Web, did they ever approach us? Have you ever talked to them about locating here? I know the controversy.
I do, and coincidentally, I ran into someone yesterday that asked the same question from Warren County EDC.
Okay.
And I provided them this very map. I don't know where that's going. So
But they never.
they have not
approached us.
contacted us.
So they said, my understanding is that when they had a public hearing or something, they said, oh, we've been looking for 10, 15, 20 years.
Well, and that's why the EDC asked us if there's anything available, and I said that there is, that yellow highlighted area is about 15 acres.
Yeah.
The backside is sloped a little bit, so there will be some fill requirement. I don't know if the location here is optimal, because right now FW Web is on Quaker Road, they have a lot of access to market, this is tucked away a little bit. But one can't deny that it is available land and possibly an option.
We're also waiting for retail travels. They didn't have it on there, so. That part of their whole plan is a retail presence.
Yeah.
As opposed to. What they do
Okay.
today, so.
Yeah, so today's point though, this is land that has right up into that yellow area. I'll show my mouse here. Sorry, it's a little slow here. Right there, the utilities end. But there are utilities.
Yeah,
There's
no,
gas,
I'm very familiar
water,
with that,
electricity, sewer.
because I did work for the town.
Yeah.
For what was the name of it?
RWS.
Yeah, Royal Wood Shavings, which is right there, right where you're cursor.
Right there, yes. And one I want to get rid of. Yeah,
Bob and I are quite familiar with it, etc. But anyway,
so I think part of it will be what we'll really come back with. One thing that if we don't sell the property is going to be income property with a lease arrangement. So that is not a bad thing for the IDA. But to the point that this is developed land that perhaps have higher use of light manufacturing, one can't deny that. So I think we have to see how things unfold.
Where they don't mind the needs of standard 20 some odd acres back there, because that achieves the goal of 50% land and
Right.
everything else. I mean, I really have a problem. Our mission is to put it in. Is we sell the last million lots. We have had some interest, but further, there's no other good property, no other lots available other than those. There is a lot we'll talk about later, but the sewer property lot may be getting an offer on it, or someone can use for storage. So that's all the way down on Park Avenue. That doesn't, that goes, that place down there would not be. The person looked at these lots here, but really not usable for him either. He just doesn't like the huge piece of property that put a fence around it. And actually, it's like people, there isn't storage the value of putting it there. So the other lot, which we'll talk about later, has more interest to them.
So, okay, well, that, sorry, I was gonna say, is that northeast corner truly available now without all being deed restricted?
Go back to you, deed restriction says you can't build on the wood.
But just to be clear,
Not build on
we
Well, that's the,
encompassed all of it.
yeah, that's the problem that happened with the newly first review of that, right? Because the Army Corps came back and said, no, they would go back to the 1993 regs. So that's gonna be a challenge.
Wasn't that for the western portion, the mitigation area?
That was all litigation area, that's all wetlands. You couldn't build it in there.
Was that, but I guess what the map show, we'll have to look at that map, because that's what they, yeah.
Yeah, so what people are referring to is where the mouse is now, this is the area that Moody was originally looking at. And this is where they thought that perhaps we could do the solar, even though there were minor wetlands. Army Corps came back and said, no, this property here in yellow is not wetlands, and so the question is, can the panels go here? And if they also have this other land that they would use as sort of a, see, they do look to do wetlands here, but it's blue for the panels, so they aren't proposing panels on wetlands. Again, I think we let them do their due diligence, and we just wait to see.
Writing about,
But that 1993 agreement did not impact that
Other part.
other part back here, which is.
Oh, that's the
litigation area.
old.
Yeah,
That 1993, I mean, there's plenty of local land to put their panels on. The clearing, it will be, remember my topography, will be easier to do than that big area there, because that's mostly all wooded. But that would accomplish their goals, so I'd get back and say, listen, there is this other area here where we're more than glad to have it accomplished here, 50% wetlands.
are you referring to up here, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Yeah, we have told them. They're aware of it. Yeah, I'm trying to move the mouse. a little. This area here, yeah, we've also explained to them it's available. They're a little worried about that area because of it. Well, they are worried about the area because of the pockets of wetlands. Where the other area, they're less worried. Again, my recommendation is let them do their due diligence and see if they come back.
The deed restrictions do not impact usable land, it impacts wetlands.
I'm not sure I agree with that. Because we had that whole area was set aside, upland and wetland areas.
That's when we recently put on record.
Recent, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the difference, I understand, I'll have to defer to that 93, but that's.
Well, there is a discrepancy between the two documents that they are, and I might have been wrong, but they might, they're pulling those old documents up. When, in their last conversation.
That was our resolution making that for a while. We did it as a board. They were mandating it from Army Corps of Engineers.
In the first set of restrictions.
1993 had nothing to do with this area here. 1993 only had to do with the wetlands that's existing, the mitigation in the swamp area.
But you're saying that the one we just did in 2021 includes those parcels.
What we got, I'm not sure.
No, this is the latest map,
We
but
did the Forever Wild ourselves up there.
I recommend we let them leave through due diligence and see what they can find.
I recommend we figure it out before we step on our own left foot. So we'll talk about that and figure it out.
Okay, that's it, I'm gonna leave.
Okay,
Turn off my screen.
landscaper position.
Okay, you might recall from our last board meeting, we had authorization to a part-time landscaping position. We have hired Everett Scully. He is doing this employment paperwork, and we are working on landscaping equipment that can meet our strategy. Is the rent some equipment from periodic big jobs such as a brush hog. But I am going to seek authorization to buy a gently used 0-point turn mower for him to take care of the site. We have 3 quotes. New one would be about $10,000. That one used one is $6,500, and we have another quote of $2,500. And like border authorizations about 3,000. We of course will do 3 quotes and do the lowest quote. We just have the 2,500 is new this morning. We want to flush it out, and I'm looking for a little bit of room up to 3,000. If this offer that we see in the quote right now is not worth pursuing. Yes, Mr. Bruno.
Is that reasonable? In other words, we don't want to necessarily take the lowest bid, if the machine is not in a good, we need to set a certain standard for what we set.
Agreed, and talk with Everett this morning, you can take a look at it and test and make sure it's in. It is being represented and being good shape, less than only $500.
Right, so is $3,000 threshold reasonable?
If the board would do up to 5,000 and we'll do the lowest of 3 quotes, that would be great.
Lowest for 3 that
Are in good working order.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, Mr. Chairman, to get board approval on up to $5,000, the lowest of 3 quotes.
Motion,
I'll move that.
motion by David, what a second.
Second.
Second by Juan, any other discussion? All in favor? Here,
Thank you.
and outside access road, we did have a conversation with, canal side. And, who were their names?
Yes,
And their comment was that we would, there is a way we can get to yes.
Yep.
And we're setting a meeting with whatever village, DPW, town DPW, county DPW, Canal Corp. And anyone else we need to go there and look to see what we've done. To modify security guards, what we need for traffic controls. So that we can get to the yes. And if there's anything need to be done, we'll have 2 years to do that.
So we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
Correct.
So hopefully we get there. It will eliminate the need to cut a road. Get the property, which could be $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 just to cut a road. So, okay, any questions on that? Votes by George Storage.
Okay, I have another handout, so going back to the airport industrial park, this time we're going to phase 1. Again, I will try to show my screen with the handout. So, the image comes up here on the screen. The yellow area is land that, there's actually 2 lots in the area highlighted here. There is there's an IDA property, which is 14.5 acres. This, by the way, just as reference, this is off of Park Road, right to the, and then you see the Queensbury Ave, and right to the left is the Warren County Airport. So that's the proximity, we're very close to the airport. Both by George is looking for immediate storage space, outdoor storage space, and the opportunity to build indoor storage space. And we were approached recently, and we looked at our inventory. We've actually toured the site with representatives both by George, and they have interest in this site. Immediate interest. Besides the portion that we own, which is represented by my arrow here on the screen, you'll note over here on the left, this other parcel. This is owned by the Washington County Sewer District. There is a building on site, but it is inactive. There is an easement for moving, there's a sewer pipe going through the area, but the site itself is dormant and not being utilized by the sewer district anymore. Mr. Chairman has spoken with the sewer district, and they are not opposed to the idea of either leasing or selling the land. So Boats by George is going to be approaching them and us for eventually purchasing both lots. With the sewer district lot, that is fenced in, and they like to do that, of being able to go in there and mow down the vegetation and put boats in there this winter. To shrink wrap their boats and outside storage, and then presumably start the engineering and regulatory approval process to build the building. The location of the building now, Bob and I walked this property about a week ago, is about the proximity of my arrow. There's about 4 or 5 acres here that appears to be developable. So there is a chance that Boats by George would keep this area for outdoor storage, or maybe build a building and then move over here to this building and we're looking at all that. Now, this is very preliminary. There's been tours, but there is a lot more to happen here. But we just wanted to work the board that these discussions were underway. And Mr. Chairman, I don't know if we need any other. It's basically just an update and more to come as Boats by George through due diligence.
But it's going to be a three-way, part of it's going to be a three-way deal.
Or yes, or two-way, Boats by George working with 2 different parties. Yeah.
Unless there's only one transaction, then there's one.
Yeah.
Sewer district is one transaction, if it comes to that, but you seem to be very interested in talking later. Tuesday, Monday, about something else, so. Okay, any questions on that? All right, I'm going to move for a motion to go into executive session to discuss acquisition, sale, or lease of real property that can substantially affect the value discussed publicly. Motion by Dan, second by Juan. Any discussion? All in favor? Carry. You knew wasn't secretary. First order of business is
We want to make sure you